Previously on 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Junpei escapes his room and meets up with other people within the ship on Deck B. After a brief encounter with the other members of the Nonary game, he recognizes a girl among the group named Akane as his childhood friend. Their reunion is abruptly interrupted by Zero, the man behind the game. He states that they must participate in the game if they wish to live, as the only goal of the game is to escape. He adds that if they do not escape in 9 hours from then, that the ship will sink. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. Junpei, too, was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the Nonary game? Why had he been chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No. That seemed impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait. Don't tell me you're actually going to do what this Zero says. No, that's not what I meant. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying, let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. We what? Well, I fade in and out of the accents I do for these characters. I'm sorry, I'm not a good voice actor. Their separate investigations finished. All 9 people returned to where they'd left one another. The results of all their work was nothing. They were completely sealed in. Their hard work had not gone completely to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they scoured the parts of the ship they could reach. It seemed that they were confined to decks A through C. C deck was as far down as they would be able to go, however. The reason being that D deck was completely submerged. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D deck. The flows seemed to have been stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D deck, which was as smooth as glass. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. Perhaps this Zero fellow has used some sort of remote control to seal a watertight door lower down. He said that our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, this water won't rise for another 9 hours. They're just saying we won't sink till then. Well, that might be a little too optimistic. No point to wishful thinking. There were 3 metal doors on C deck. A single door stood off to the side with 2 more on the wall facing the central staircase. None of them had numbers, or vertification devices. They were, however, locked like the other doors. No matter how much they pushed and shoved, the doors refused to move. The mountain and the lion threw themselves against them a few times, but to no avail. The door in the back had a keyhole. Just above it was a strange mark in the shape of a circle surrounding a dot. There were 2 other doors on C deck as well, but it was clear that they were elevators, as each had a button next to it with an upside-down triangle. They tried pushing the button. No response. Apparently, there was no power running to the elevators. To the left of the elevator doors was a card reader. The card reader also had a strange mark on it. It looked like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the H. Junpei stared at it for a while. This is the symbol of Saturn. It's an astrological symbol. Then the mark on the other door. I think that was the sun symbol. They had seen the same symbols on A deck. There was a door on either side of the stairs. The one on the left had a keyhole with a similar symbol engraved on it. This is an Earth symbol. The horizontal line symbolizes the equator, and the vertical one represents the prime. Meridian. God damn it, text crawling. Junpei looked up at the ceiling. There was a great circle cut in it, perhaps for a skylight or a glass dome, but it had been filled with a gargantuan metal plate. The metal looked very solid. Anything short of an explosive charge was unlikely to damage it. There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. They too were covered with metal plates. In other words, we're trapped. All the exits go nowhere. Junpei was not too happy. The girl with pink hair spoke up. Well, I'm sure they go somewhere. We just can't open them. Then the mountain spoke. You don't know that. For all we know, they just open into walls or just take us in circles. The prince did not agree. No, I'm sure they go somewhere. Otherwise, what point would there be? And we can open them. Well, 2 of them, at least. So the group has to split up in order to go in those doors, I assume. Because there's 9 of them, so 4 would go in one and 5 would go in the other. You mean the numbered doors? All eyes turned towards the doors with numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. Hey, wait a minute. I think I said this earlier, but I don't think we should do that. The dancer moved in front of the doors as if to block them. We'd have to be crazy to open these doors. If we do that, we're doing exactly what Zero wants us to do. Suddenly, everyone began to speak at once. I agree. I don't. That's a terrible idea. We should keep going. We should stay here. We don't have any other way to open any of these doors. We should just wait. Someone's bound to find us. I don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, this ship is going to sink. The clamor of voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. The arguments grew more and more intense until people were shouting and screaming at one another. Junpei had remained silent, but at last he could take no more. Hey! Shut up! They fell silent and all eyes turned towards Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch. Before we try and decide where we're going to go, there's something else we ought to do. What's that? We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other. I want to know who you guys are. Who you are, where you came from, why you ended up here. Don't tell me you aren't curious too. They were silent. Some of them looked the other way, or bit their lip, or crossed their arms and stared at the ceiling. But one of them spoke up. It was Akane. I agree. I think Jumpy is right. Jumpy? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about him. I just call him Jumpy. His name is Junpei. She pointed towards Junpei. We're childhood friends. We went to the same elementary school. Wait, stop. Don't tell us stuff we didn't ask you about. Zero's probably watching us right now. What are you gonna do if he's listening in? Would that be bad? Hell yeah, it would. We don't know how much that bastard knows about us. Maybe he's just picked a bunch of random people to kidnap. If that is the case, then it'd be dangerous for us to let him know as much. If Zero knows who we are, he could go after our families. Maybe he'd tell us he had them to get us to do stuff, you know? But we still need to know what our names are. It's going to be hard to talk to each other if we don't know or don't have names. Alright, then why don't we have code names? Oh, wait, that's the wrong person. Whoops. To him, apparently, it seemed like an obvious solution. Code names? Yeah, we'll each pick something. Like, I'll be 7. 7? Why are you 7? It seemed like a fair question. The mountain stuck out his left arm. Oops. Cause this bracelet number says 7. Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's a good idea. He smirked. Alright, I'm gonna be Santa. Any of you chumps know Japanese? No? Well, san means 3, so I'll be Santa. You know, like Santa Claus. Fits, don't you think? Then your bracelet number... Oh, goddammit, wrong person again. Voices. Yeah, it's got a 3 on it. Good job, Gramps. Just like the mountain had done, Silver thrusts out his left hand. Sure enough, the face of his bracelet read 3. Very well then. I'll go next, shall I? My bracelet number is 1. Given that, I think Ace seems appropriate. I'll be Lotus then. As I'm sure you all know, it has 8 petals. Which means, of course, that my bracelet number is... 8. I would appreciate it if you would call me Solid Snake. My bracelet number is 2. Since Ace has chosen cards, then I choose dice. Snake Eyes, clearly, which is particularly relevant given that I am blind. Blind? Really? He kept his eyes closed during their entire ordeal, which had suggested something strange, but to hear it so casually was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at Prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it. There was one person, however, who didn't seem surprised in the least. The girl with pink hair. I want to be Clover. You know, like a 4-leaf clover. Good luck, right? Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed the number 4. It'd come around to Junpei. He held out his bracelet. Alright, my name's 5. My number's 5, so my code name is gonna be... I have one. It's not like there's any point to it now. The dancer cut him off mid-sentence. I mean, we all know your name already. Yeah, Junpei. Oh, they all nodded. Akane stepped forward nervously. Then you should all call me by my name too. Oh, goddammit, wrong person again. Because, I mean, it doesn't seem fair to Jumpy. You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his. Akane fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something. What's your bracelet number? It's 6. Okay. She hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. As she'd claimed, the bracelet's face showed a 6. Junpei looked at it for a moment and thought, alright then, why don't we call you June? June? Yeah, you know, it's the 6th month of the year. So, you're June. Jumpy. Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei, uncertain. He smiled back at her reassuringly. Are you good with that? She thought about it for a few minutes, and then seemed to come to a decision and gave Junpei a small nod. God, words. Please stop tripping over them. Their names decided, Junpei ran over them quickly in his head. 1 was Ace. 2 was Snake. 3 was Santa. 4 was Clover. 5 was, me. Akane was 6, and Junpei had given her the codename of June. 7 was, 7. And 8 was Lotus. That meant that 8 of them, including Junpei, had revealed their bracelet numbers. But there was still one person left. He was the man with the glasses and hair like a bird's nest. He hadn't said anything since they'd met on the stairs, and he didn't look like the sort of person who was inclined to conversation. His skin was pale, his breathing was heavy, and he was soaked with nervous sweat. His behavior seemed very suspicious, or perhaps simply emotionally unstable. It was difficult to tell. Whatever the case, it seemed clear that he had only a fingertip's worth of grip on his sanity. The girl with pink hair, Clover, walked up to him slowly. She put her hands on her hips and eyed him suspiciously. What number are you? He didn't answer. God, words. His bloodshot eyes twitched from one person to another person, and his breath came in hot pants. Hey, I'm talking to you. The man licked his dry lips with a shaking tongue and spoke with a voice like old paper. Isn't it obvious? There are 9 people here, and you know who's numbers 1 through 8 are. I'm the only one left. So you're 9? Yeah. He extended a trembling arm. The bracelet did indeed say 9. Clover looked at it contemptuously. What's your code name? Code name? What do you want us to call you? We all made up names. You should too. I don't need one. Why not? Because I'm not going to stay here with you. He took a shuddering breath and exhaled. Clover looked at him with something very like disgust. You've got some sort of plan? I do. Yeah? What's that? You sure you want to know? Yeah? Alright. Let me show you. I'm going to do this. Ah. By the time they'd realized what he was doing, it was too late to stop him. The man's body moved like a snake's. In the blink of an eye, he had slid around behind her, and wrapped his arm around her waist. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? Silver, Santa, leapt forward towards Clover and the ninth man. He was halfway there when... Stay back! Suddenly, the man's hand dove into his pocket. It came back out with a knife. A pocket knife. He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck. If you get any closer, I'll cut her open. Santa skidded to a halt. He snarled at the scrawny man with the knife and gritted his teeth. Yes, that's right. The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking the collar of his shirt. Clover, are you alright? The prince, Snake's voice, sounded oddly concerned. Yeah, I'm fine. Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing. What the hell are you trying to do? I told you. This is my plan. What are you gonna do to her, you sick son of a bitch? Don't worry. I'm not going to do anything to her. If she just does what I tell her to do, I'll let her go. He started to move backward, slowly, keeping his grip on Clover. Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually, the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched it, then glanced around quickly and spoke. Verify. Huh? The left. Look on your left. Do you see the device on the wall? Place your hand on the scanner panel, the round part. What if I don't? The man's nostrils flared, and he looked like he was about to choke. Are you an idiot? What do you think? I could slit your throat right now. I'll kill you if I have to. All I need is your bracelet. Just do it. Do it now. He pressed the knife against Clover's neck, hard. Slowly, she stretched her left hand out towards the device. Her back was to it, and she had to feel around for a moment before she could find the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise, and on the display above her hand an asterisk appeared. So, that's how it works, Junpei thought to himself. By placing one palm on what the ninth man had called the scanner panel, the user's bracelet number would be entered into the device. Goddamn, I forgot this guy's voice. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself. The number on it was a 5. The ninth man seemed to know a little more about the device's operation than he should. How had he known exactly what to do? Good, you're done. And next... His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally, they stopped on the lion. Ace. You, right? You're the one with the number 1 bracelet, right? Yes, I am. So? Then you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. What are you doing? Do it! Don't you care about what happens to her? Okay, just calm down. Ace held up his hands, palms out. The ninth man jerked his chin towards the device. Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved towards the device. After what had seemed like an agonizing eternity, he reached it. Now, verify. Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again, and a second asterisk appeared. Now, the device had Clover's and Ace's numbers, 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 equals 5. The same as the number written on the door, but it wouldn't open just yet. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. The door needed at least one more person. Who would that be? Get back! His voice shook, but the knife he held to Clover's throat made his words a command. Ace took 2 and then 3 steps back. No, further! More than that! Go all the way back! Slowly, Ace did what he was told. The ninth man's lips curled into a cruel, twisted smile. That was when Junpei understood his plan. Clover's 4 and Ace's 1, added to the ninth man's 9, makes 5, obviously. In other words... Thank God you were all so cooperative. Now I can get out of this nightmare. He pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. The door opened with a heavy metallic groan. He let go of Clover. Wait! Junpei leapt towards the ninth man, but he wasn't fast enough. The man shoved Clover. And then hopped through the door. Okay. Have a good one, guys. I'm going off now. Well then. Goodbye. He raised his hand and waved, a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with a dull clank of metal on metal. Clover, are you alright? Snake ran to Clover's side as she lay on the floor. Laid. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say laid. Yeah, I'm fine. She climbed unsteadily to her feet, and once there, leaned heavily on Snake's shoulder for support. Junpei ran to the door. The others followed him. Several pairs of hands grabbed a hold of the handles and pulled. They grunted and strained, but... Shit! It won't budge! That was when Lotus, the dancer, spoke. Her voice was quiet. Do you hear something? Like what? Some sort of beeping. Junpei pressed his ears against the cold metal of the door. The others did the same. You're right. I can hear it too. What is it? Then they heard something else. It was the ninth man. Shit! Why isn't it stopping? God damn it! You lied! Lied? This wasn't supposed to happen. This is wrong. This is wrong. His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another. What is happening in there? Open the door. Please. I'm begging you. Help me. Please get me out of here. Get me out of here. Junpei grabbed a hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened. Why didn't it register him? He looked at the display where the asterisk had shown up. It said, engaged. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's no time left. Listen. I was lied to. He lied to me. He put me in here. It was him. He killed me. It was him.